Do you ever write songs in your dreams?
Yeah.
All right.
Yesterday.
What? Yesterday
Yeah.
was written in a dream?
Uh-huh.
It's hard to imagine music without the Beatles. Four lads from Liverpool, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, who rewrote every rule in popular music. But among them, Paul McCartney was always the heartbeat, the romantic, the perfectionist, the eternal optimist with a tune for every feeling. Now, at 80 years old, Sir Paul McCartney has seen it all. Fame, heartbreak, loss, and immortality through music.
I think you'll understand when I say that something.
He spent decades performing the songs that changed the world. But which of them still mean the most to him? After years of fans asking, interviews hinting, and nostalgia growing, McCartney finally opened up about the 5 Beatles songs that remain closest to his heart. Each one tells a story, not just of melodies and lyrics,
There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly.
but of friendship, rivalry, and the unstoppable energy of youth that defined an entire generation. Let's dive in. 1. Yesterday, the song that came in a dream. No list of McCartney's favorites could begin anywhere else. In 1965, Paul woke up one morning with a melody in his head. Simple, haunting, and unlike anything the Beatles had ever recorded. He ran to the piano in his London flat and played it before it vanished. Working title: Scrambled Eggs. He was convinced he must have heard it before. For weeks, he asked friends, musicians, and producers if they recognized the tune. No one did. It was his. And thus, Yesterday was born. When McCartney finally recorded it, with only his voice and a string quartet, it became a defining moment in pop history. No other Beatles were on the track, and yet it carried the soul of the band's evolution, from teenage rebellion to mature artistry. Paul once said, "It just came to me." It's still a mystery how he performed Yesterday more than any other Beatles song in his career, yet it never lost its meaning. To him, it's a reminder of inspiration's mystery, the kind of song you don't write, but receive. Even decades later, he called it his most honest composition. It's not just a song, it's the sound of McCartney realizing his own genius. 2. Here, There, and Everywhere. The purest love song. If Yesterday was born from a dream, Here, There, and Everywhere was born from devotion. The story goes that Paul wrote it while waiting for John Lennon to wake up one summer morning at a house they shared in 1966. Sitting outside with his acoustic guitar, he strummed gentle chords that floated like sunlight through leaves. By the time John finally got up, the bones of one of the most beautiful love songs ever written were complete. Paul later admitted that he was inspired by the Beach Boys' harmonies, especially God Only Knows. But Here, There, and Everywhere carried something uniquely McCartney, an intimacy that sounded both personal and universal. He wrote it for Jane Asher, his girlfriend at the time, but it transcended any one relationship. When asked about it years later, Paul said softly, "That one feels like love itself. Not about someone, just the feeling." Even Lennon, who wasn't always quick to praise Paul's romanticism, once admitted it was one of his favorite Beatles songs. To McCartney, it remains the song that best captured what he always tried to express: love without limits, simple and eternal. 3. Hey Jude. The healing anthem. Few songs in music history carry as much comfort, hope, and emotional power as Hey Jude. In 1968, the Beatles were fracturing. The pressures of fame, artistic direction, and personal relationships, especially John's new life with Yoko Ono, were pulling them apart. Amid that chaos, Paul sat down to write a song for someone who needed it. Julian Lennon, John's young son, who was struggling with his parents' divorce. The original line was, "Hey Jules," but Paul changed it to, "Hey Jude." It wasn't just for Julian anymore. It became a song for anyone going through pain. When McCartney first played it for John, Lennon thought it was secretly about him and Yoko. Paul laughed, but never fully denied it. Maybe it was. Maybe it was about all of them, friends trying to hold on as the world changed. With its 7-minute runtime and unforgettable "Na Na Na" chorus, "Hey Jude" became one of the most emotional sing-alongs ever recorded. Paul once said, "I wanted it to take a sad song and make it better." That's what we all needed then. Even now, when he performs it live, thousands of voices rise to join him, and you can see it in his eyes. This is the song that still heals him too. 4. Let It Be, his mother's whisper. Not many people know that "Let It Be" came from one of the most profound moments in Paul's life. In the late 1960s, as the Beatles' relationships deteriorated, McCartney found himself anxious and lost. One night, he dreamed of his mother, Mary, who had passed away when he was just 14. In the dream, she told him, "It's going to be all right. Just let it be." When he woke up, the words stuck with him. Within days, he wrote the song that would become an anthem of peace, faith, and surrender. He later said, "I felt blessed. It was like my mother had returned to give me a message when I needed it most." Let It Be was recorded during one of the most turbulent times in Beatles history. Arguments in the studio, creative exhaustion, and the looming breakup all cast a shadow over the sessions. Yet when Paul sat at the piano and sang those opening lines, everything went still. It wasn't just a song, it was a prayer. Decades later, Paul still plays "Let It Be" with reverence, calling it the closest thing to a hymn I've ever written. Every time he performs it, you can feel that boy from Liverpool, scared, grieving, but finding hope again, inside the man who became a legend. 5. Blackbird, the song of freedom. If Let It Be was Paul's hymn, Blackbird was his protest song, delicate, poetic, but fierce in its message. Written in 1968, during the height of the American Civil Rights Movement, McCartney was deeply affected by news reports of racial tensions in the U.S. He wanted to write something that spoke to those who were struggling without sounding preachy or political. He said, "I had in mind a black woman going through struggles in the civil rights movement. I used a blackbird as a symbol of hope." The beauty of Blackbird lies in its simplicity. Just Paul's voice, his finger-picking guitar, and the sound of birds chirping in the background. But beneath that calm exterior is quiet power. It's a song that tells you, even in darkness, you can rise. Over the years, McCartney met countless fans who told him how much the song meant to them, especially women of color who saw themselves in its wings. That's when he realized the song had grown beyond him. Even now, when he performs it live, he often dedicates it to anyone who's ever been put down, ignored, or forgotten. At 80, he says, Blackbird is one of the songs he's proudest of, not for its melody, but for its meaning. Reflection, the art of remembering. As Paul McCartney looks back at 8 decades of life and over 60 years of music, what stands out isn't the fame or the fortune. It's the moments where a song changed him. Each of these 5 songs carries a piece of his soul. Yesterday, the mystery of inspiration. Here, there, and everywhere, the purity of love. Hey Jude, the comfort of healing. Let It Be, the faith to move on. Blackbird, the courage to rise. Together, they tell the story of a man who never stopped searching for beauty and simplicity. Paul once said, "The songs are like my diary. You could know my whole life just by listening to them." And maybe that's true. In those lyrics, you can hear the boy from Liverpool who never grew tired of creating, the man who carried the Beatles' spirit long after the band was gone, and the legend who still believes that music can make the world a little kinder. At 80, Paul McCartney doesn't chase hits or trends. He doesn't need to. His music already belongs to time itself. But when he sits at a piano and plays Let It Be or strums the opening of Blackbird, you can still see that same spark, the boy who dreamed big enough to change the world. These 5 songs aren't just his favorites. They're his life story and sound. They remind us that the best music doesn't age. It simply keeps finding new hearts to heal. And as long as Paul McCartney's melodies keep echoing through the years, the world will always remember what the Beatles taught us. All you need is love.